Hey everyone, Sarah Sampson here, beauty influencer with Pharmacy USA and leader of Team Glitz Mavens. Coming at you hot. No, just kidding. I'm not coming in hot. I mean, I feel it, but I'm going to turn this light off. There we go. Fixes the lighting a little bit. You need to take a breath. Okay, so today we're going to talk consistency. It's week 2 of our consistency series. And what's going to happen is over the progression of the next few weeks, I'm going to go through all of the different ways to be consistent, and we're going to do it one step at a time, because as we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, your goal is to make small changes over time so that they're easier to maintain, and you create the habit and you create this routine where it becomes second nature to you to do these things, and it's not going to be as difficult for you to get these tasks done because it's going to be second nature. Some examples of things that have become second nature to me since being more consistent is consistently going live, and feeling like it's more work for me not to than to actually go live, even on days when I don't feel like it. Birthday messages, reaching out to new people, doing team trainings. These are all things that, while they seem minor, whatever, they're small, they add up. They grow your business. They move you forward. They're tasks that are feasible. I can measure whether or not I've been keeping up with people based on whether I've been sending like birthday messages, especially. If I'm skipping birthday messages, I'm probably skipping a lot of things. So it's things that become routine. It's like second nature. It's second nature to me to wake up in the morning, check my notifications, and send birthday messages all at the same time. It's second nature at this point. It's like brushing your teeth. That is what we want. We want working your business to be second nature. And not in a life-controlling kind of a way, but in a very well-balanced way. I work my business a couple hours a day. I don't work constantly. I'm not working from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. Some people do that. Power to them. I got 4 kids. I don't have time for that. We homeschool. I clean houses once a month. I actually did that today, in fact. Fun times. But you know, we all have lives, so we don't have unlimited amount of time to work our business. So we need to actually really be honing in on the time that we're spending on our business and doing those things that are going to move us forward, not those things that are kind of like, they don't matter, they don't do anything. They seem like, to you, they might seem like they're doing something, but they're not like they don't spur action, if that makes sense. So today, the first step in becoming more consistent is to not take on too much at once, to not make all of your changes at once. So we're going to make our small changes first. The reason we're going to do that is when you make those small changes, it's kind of like Dave Ramsey and his debt snowball. You know, you would think you want to hit that large debt first, but his advice is actually you hit the small debt, you pay it off, and then you roll that payment into the next, and then it snowballs, and eventually you get to that larger payment and you're putting whatever payments that you had on those smaller debts towards that bigger debt, and you pay it off quickly, right? So it's the same thing with your business. You want to make those small changes in anything in life, really. This doesn't even necessarily have to do with business, period. It's anything. If you want to be consistent at something, make the small changes first. So start with something that's not as scary, but still needs to be done and you're not really doing it. Whether, you know, maybe it's posting, maybe it's wishing people happy birthday, maybe it's actually responding to comments or talking to people or just putting yourself out there. Maybe it's that, maybe it's something else. Start with the small things, make those small changes, and as you make those changes, celebrate the wins along the way. If you find it becoming when you start to find something incredibly easy to do, it's time to move on to the next thing. If you start posting, for instance, about your life and it starts to get really easy, find something else that needs to be worked on. So you've got this down, but there's always somewhere we can be improving. There's always something we can be learning. I got comfortable with doing makeup, for instance. I got comfortable with doing basic makeup, but I couldn't for the life of me do lashes. So I turned around and I learned how to do lashes. Now lashes to me are at least easy enough that I did them on live tonight. I did them on live and they only took me a few minutes. They took me longer than they should have, only because my glue. No, it wasn't the glue's fault. I sat them down wrong, and I need to get better tweezers, but I sat them down wrong and I curled my lashes too soon, so they weren't dry yet. But I knew what I did wrong, right? I knew what caused that. So at this point, it's easy enough that I can move on to something else. Maybe I could start doing more colors or something more artistic, or branching out more, learning about hair care or skin care or whatever it is. There's always something we can be learning, okay? So when something begins to become easy to you, celebrate that win. I cannot believe that I'm confident enough with lashes that I went live with lashes tonight, and I didn't get flustered. I didn't get frustrated. They went on really quick. And in fact, the second lash, I say it took me like 6 minutes. It really didn't. The first lash I struggled with, the second lash, and it popped up. So what I did is I moved on to the second lash and let that one, it looked willy-nilly for a while, but I came over and did this one, popped it right on, and it went right on. I literally am at a point where I can put them on in like 2 minutes flat. I'm like, okay, but it's easy to me now. So I'm moving on to the next thing, right? Same idea. It's kind of like when you're working out and you're doing a specific exercise and it starts to get too easy, the weights aren't heavy enough, and you have to up the weight, right? You're going to do the same thing when you're working on consistency, okay? So work your way up, celebrate your successes, and start with something small. Whatever you choose, it doesn't matter. So I don't really have like a ton to say about it. It's just a really simple concept. This is the first step in becoming consistent. And like I said, I have it written down. There's 7 steps. Okay, technically 6, but we're going to go ahead and say there's 7. There's 7 steps, and we're going to do each of the steps one at a time. Each week, we're going to add a new thing each week. So you're building up, you're starting small, and you're working your way up, right? So what I want you to do this week is, you can post this under this post, or you can send me a message, whichever. It doesn't matter to me which you choose, okay? But what I want you to do is I want you to make a list of areas that you need to work on or you need to improve in, whether it is product knowledge, being consistent, going live, posting about your personal life, posting about pharmacy without sounding salesy, whatever it could be, okay? Make an entire list. And I know you have big goals, but I want the small things. Go ahead and you can write down those big things, but I want to hear about the small things too, okay? And then I want you to pick one of those things that you're going to focus on this week, okay? Pick one thing that you are going to work on specifically this week. I want the whole list, but I want to know which one thing you're going to work on. And then, of course, share that in a message or share that on the post, whichever you choose. I want the list and then the one thing you plan to work on, okay? This is going to help me help you, because I'm going to know what you want to work on. I'm going to actually take those comments and write them down so I have a record. And I'm going to keep it. And then we're going to track this together. We're going to work on this together. We're going to start with one. And then as we do our one-on-one Zooms together, what we're going to do is, as you find that first thing super easy to do, you're doing it consistently, you're not struggling with it as much anymore, we're going to move on to the next thing, and we're going to keep doing that until everything on your list is done, okay? That is how we're going to do it, a little at a time. We're going to celebrate those small wins. We're going to watch it snowball into a consistent business, okay? So just like your debt snowballs into paid off debt, your business is going to snowball from inconsistent into consistent. And that's what we want. We want it to snowball, because you know what a snowball does when it starts rolling, right? It avalanches. It turns into a giant ball, and that you see in movies, like people get sucked into it and they roll down, right? You want that. It has its own momentum. Once that ball is rolling, like I said, it's second nature. It's going to be very easy for you to continue going, okay? So I want a list of all the areas you want to work on and the different ways that you can do that. So if your big goal is to share your personal life, I want the little ways in which you feel you're dropping the ball or could do better on or could learn more about and work on. I want that list of things, okay? So if you struggle with posting about your personal life, I keep using that because I struggle with that. Start with something small. I started with hoarding. I know it's weird, but that's what I did. I started with hoarding, and that's how I opened up about my personal life. Now I'm going to be talking about my fitness journey a little bit. I'm going to be talking about organization a little bit more. And I'm going to sneak in some homeschooling stuff because those are things that people have already told me they want to hear about. They want to know how I stay organized with 4 kids. They want to know how we homeschool. And the weight loss, that one's for me. And that's okay. That is me opening up about something. I'm very vulnerable about my weight. It bothers me that I have allowed myself to get here. So I'm going to allow people to see the vulnerable side of me. And then I'm also going to let them see those other parts that they've asked me for that are probably a little bit easier for me. But start small. And even if you begin with doing a couple of posts a week, when those couple of posts a week get easy, start adding a live. When the live gets easy, start adding little videos. Add to your story. Make a YouTube, whatever it is. It's going to snowball. It's going to be so easy to share your personal life. And I'm not talking about your deepest, darkest secrets. You get to pick and choose what you share with people online. The point is they're able to get to know you better, right? So I want all those little ways that you feel that you could improve in that area. And those are what we're going to work on. It's going to get you to that big goal of sharing your personal life. And I'm just using that as an example. Me and someone else on the team talked about that yesterday. But so it's fresh on my mind. It's like the easiest example. It's also something that I've been working on personally myself as well. So it's kind of fresh on my mind that way as well. But those little things that we do are going to work us towards that big goal. And what's cool is that big goal is going to ultimately allow people to get to know us, become comfortable with us, trust us, and it's going to help us in our business. It's going to help us reach those business goals. We're not even talking about business goals right now, guys. We're talking in general. In what areas do you feel that you can improve that are going to help you become more consistent? Some examples would be personal development, self-care, sharing our personal life, going live. I don't even know. There's so many directions this could take. So it's going to be really personal to you, but those are some ideas. I want those lists. And then the one thing you're going to work on this week. And then I'm going to have that written down. And when we do one-on-ones, we're going to work through it. We're going to put feelers. We're going to see how you're feeling about that first thing first. And then once that first thing is like getting too easy for you, I'm going to expect you to do the next thing. Because the reality is when you start to hit your comfort zone, you start to stagnate. You stop moving, right? We want to consistently be leaving our comfort zone because it is outside of our comfort zone that we're going to find success. So that is all I have for you today. We're going to start week 1 with making the small changes. So that's what the list is for. I want a list of all the things that you would like to work on, the areas you feel you could work on. And I know it's hard because like sometimes it feels like you're nitpicking yourself. I don't want you to nitpick yourself. I don't want it to be like that. It's just an honest it's just being honest about what you know you need to work on. And if it's mindset, that's a good one too. I don't want this to be like self-criticism. It's not like that. I don't want you to feel down or critical on yourself. It's knowing what you need to work on and then improving in those areas. Okay. So if it's going to make you feel bad about yourself, leave it off the list for now, because we can work on the mindset. We can work on the confidence while we're at it. Because honestly, as you are able to get these things moving, as you build your confidence in your ability to stay consistent and be consistent, it does affect your confidence in yourself as well. So you might find that something you don't have room for on your list right now, you'll have room for later. Okay. There's always time. There's nothing but time. So I want your list. Pick one thing. You can either post it under this live or you can just send me a message. Either way, doesn't matter. And when we do our one-on-ones, this is what we're going to be focusing on, is this list right here. And then the activities as we go through, we're going to talk about those each week. I think it's going to help us stay focused. It's going to give us something to really look at, to gauge where we were and where we're going and where we are. Okay. And it's going to allow us to like measure our success in a different way, so that we're not just looking at the numbers. And I think once you stop looking at the numbers, you might find your numbers start to improve, because people can tell when you're looking at the numbers. I know it sounds so stupid, but like it's true. It's kind of like you can tell when someone is in your inbox to get to know you, and you can tell when they're in your inbox to try and get something from you, right? It's the same idea. So they can tell when we're really focusing on the wrong thing. So hope that's helpful. I would love to see that list. Anytime by, hopefully I would like it before Monday, but if you can't, that's fine. But I really encourage you to have that list. It's a good one to have. We're going to be working through this again, 6 more weeks. Technically it's only 5 more weeks, but you know what? Because step number 7 is start now, and we're already doing that. But I still think I'm going to go over it at that time, because by the time we hit week 7, it's going to be that it's almost that same around that same time, almost as if you were to make a New Year's resolution. And I want to make sure we stay motivated. So that's why I'm going to continue to do that, even though it's like it's self-explanatory. But yeah, so consistency week 2. Make your list, pick one thing that you're going to work on this week. Pick one area, and then on Monday, we're going to do our call, and we're going to talk about it, okay? So thank you guys for joining me again. Sarah Sampson, Pharmacy USA, and leader of Team Glitz Mavens. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope this helps someone, and I will talk to you guys soon. Love you guys. Bye.